In today's episode of Project Sacrifice, we get into Draconic, but we also make an insane amount of power in between episodes. I have been a very busy boy doing a lot of crafting. And yes, I have been doing a lot of crafting. I went ahead and made the MK15 fading power flowers because I was so sick and tired of logging on every time I disconnected from the world and having zero EMC. So now every time I leave the world, I basically start immediately with like a bajillion trillion EMC, so I don't have to worry about that. I also happen to upgrade our netherite crafter as well, but I have my eyes on a different prize today, and I think you're going to be surprised on what that prize is. Do you remember a couple of episodes ago when we built these power reactors and how we wanted to put watches on these guys? That's what I want to work on today. I want to work on a huge, and I mean a huge, power storage. Yes, I am thinking we go tier 8 draconic energy ball levels of huge, but unfortunately we're gonna have to go through some hoops to do that. So unfortunately we do gotta still get draconium, right? And we haven't done that yet because, well, we're kind of falling behind a little bit here, and the draconium is gonna require us to go ahead and get draconium dust and a scrap box, which I believe we already have because we were doing that over here with the recycler from industrial contraptions. But to get draconic dust might be a little bit more tricky. We're gonna need to get this draconic essence, and draconic essence is not the cheapest thing in the world. Also, it's a bit of a problematic thing because it requires this extreme crafting table, which we do have, by the way. We use it to craft our watch. The one problem with this crafting table is it's extremely laggy, and I mean really laggy for some reason. That's not gonna be fun at all. So to do draconium though, or draconium dust that is, we're gonna need a lot of things. We're gonna need manual essence, we're gonna need star metal essence, we're gonna need these insanium essence, which is 100,000 LP each, which is a lot considering that we need 8 of them. So we need just a little under a million LP for that, which is gonna be a bit tricky given our setup. We don't really have that much LP in our network right now. We only have about 30 buckets considering that needs 800 buckets each. Oh boy, we have a lot to do on our hands right now. We are gonna really struggle here to make the insanium essence. 100,000 LP is insane considering that we can only hold 30,000. So I was really thinking about this, and I think we're gonna actually have to upgrade our blood altar here. We're gonna have to upgrade to the augmented runes of capacity, which honestly they're quite expensive. They're actually really expensive, which is gonna require us to upgrade to the dynamic slate, which is gonna require 15,000 LP per, and I believe we need like 70 something runes or something, which is very expensive. Okay, so we should be able to go ahead and craft our rune of capacities, except for the fact that we don't have any stone, which stone has EMC, right? And also we don't have enough buckets, so let's go ahead and teach our system how to make buckets, and then we should in theory be able to request 74 of the rune of augmented capacities, which is what we need to go ahead and upgrade our system. So 74 of these like so, and it's gonna complain that I don't have enough master ritual stones. Ooh, that's kind of annoying that it doesn't really like that, honestly. Looks like crafting it by hand was the way to go. Now all we gotta do is break all of these guys down like so, and we're gonna go ahead and upgrade all this to the rune of augmented capacity, and hopefully this is gonna give us 1 point something odd million essence, which is insane, by the way. And then that is going to allow us to go ahead and craft our insanium at a decent rate. As long as we can just throw in 8 and call it a day, we'll be good. We can go ahead and use our sigil here to now confirm that our blood altar can indeed hold about 2 million life points, which is absolutely insanity. While I'm sitting here waiting for this to fill, I did some math really quickly to figure out all the essences we're gonna need for making the draconium essence. Oh boy, do we need a lot of essence. We need a whopping 384 of the star metal essence, which the star metal essence requires a biolab from the biomancy mod, and it's going to require skystone essence and iron essence. So that's actually, you know what? That's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I think it's the other one that's going to be the problem here, and it's the manual that's going to be the problem, because we need this cobalt essence, which we need approximately 256 of this stuff, which is going to require us to make 256 mana steel, which is going to require us to make 256 iron essence. That's not the problem one. The problem one is this mineral essence, which requires lapis and also nitro essence. Honestly, now looking at it, that's not going to be too bad at all, and I believe we only need 128 of each because we get double the output. So all I gotta do is get my innocuous out and basically shift right click this with an auto clicker, and bada bing bada boom, we should have like a bajillion of every essence. Now we are gonna need to make a few things like lapis blocks and a few others, and I believe our iron is also here up front as well, so we can go ahead and just quickly tackle that as well. Alrighty, we're almost ready here. I did make all of the essence that we need for the draconium essence. The only thing that we're now missing is going to be the draconium essence. I do need to set up filters for this, so to do that, all we gotta do is get some inferium, and I need to basically keep upgrading the tiers like so. So blacklist this and then put it in, blacklist it again, you know, you get the idea. Oh my god, that was tedious as heck to do, and guess what, we still gotta make 800,000 LP to go ahead and make 8 of these insanium, and just like that, we should now have everything that we need to go ahead and make the 8 insanium. I believe we have enough blood. Yep, we do. 954,000 buckets or millibuckets, and I totally told you to blacklist that. Did that make the insanium already? There's no way it made it that fast. Okay, that's insane. Now my only concern right now is this crafting table, because this crafting table is a bit laggy, honestly, and I'm not a huge fan of this crafting table being really laggy, but there's nothing I can really do about that per se. I missed one. There we go. All we got to do is something like this and not do that. Unfortunately, that we messed that up, but that's okay. That shouldn't be too bad of a fix. There we go. Put our insanium right in the middle, and then we should in theory be able to take all of this and hopefully divvy it out enough. Hold on, let me take all this out again. I did not mean to take those out. Oh, this is gonna be so annoying to do this one by one. Oh, this is gonna be awful. I finally freaking did it. 8 draconium essence, boom, just like that. Now the crafting table is, like I said, a bit laggy. There we go, beautiful. And now that we've got that, all we gotta do is craft that into the ingot like so. Right, no, we craft it into the dust, and then the dust gets used with a scrap box, which we have right here. And I believe the scrap box goes on the deployer and the dust goes on the, whatchamacallit, hand thing here. So if I take this and we put it on the depot like so with the draconium dust, that should make us our very first draconium ingot, which we can now take and EMC like so. Beautiful. Now one thing that I was a bit concerned about is getting the awakened draconium, because awakened draconium implies, oh boy, I'm gonna need more draconium. Oh no, don't even tell me that right now. That is pure evil. There's got to be another way to make draconium essence, right? Not really, not that I can see. At least we can't make this, so we're gonna have to make more of this. Oh, that's really not ideal. And to make this, we need a dragon heart. So we have 2 options here. We either go fight the dragon, or we do this god-awful recipe, mixing recipe with the sapphire essence, draconium essence, and hypnotizing essence. Dear God, how much am I gonna need to make 1 ingot? Oh boy, and I assume I am not allowed to dupe these. Oh wait, no. These have EMC. Oh my God, that's a save flavor. And just like that, we now have everything to go ahead and make the awakened draconium essence. Now, this hepatizing was actually super simple, just requiring some copper, some nether quartz, and some cobalt essence, which wasn't too bad. And you get 3 as well, which is actually super nice. But we are gonna need a mixing basin for this. Do I have a spare mixing basin? I do not, but what I do have is a EMC table with some cogs, so we can easily build ourselves one relatively quickly. All we gotta do is place down a cog wheel facing in the right direction, of course, so something like that, and then get ourselves a basin really quickly like so with a mixer. Now, this doesn't need any superheating, which is actually quite weird that this doesn't require any sort of like superheating at all. But what we can go ahead and do is take our draconium like so, our hepatizing like so, and our sapphire like so, and then that should mix into 8 awakened draconium essence like so, which we can then take that 8 awakened draconium essence and then craft that into awakened draconium nuggets. I could have sworn it's 9. Oh, well, that was silly of me. With it corrected, I believe I should now be able to go ahead and do this. And beautiful, they have EMC, which is beautiful. So all we gotta do is take this and toss it in here like so, and then all we gotta do after that is take the nuggets and throw them into our refined storage system, and then we should be able to go ahead and request them. Now, I also kind of want to also throw in the awakened draconium. I also want to throw in the draconium as well, because we're gonna need a lot of this stuff if we're gonna go ahead and make the tier 8 energy ball. Now, I'm hoping that it isn't gonna be like too crazy, but it could also be very crazy, and you know, things could be different, right? So I'm really hoping that the energy core is not gonna be like expensive. I didn't really check. I just was like, you know what, let's just go for this goal here, because we are gonna need power storage here, because there is a lot of things in this pack later on that's gonna be quite challenging power wise. So we're gonna need a lot of power, and it does look like everything here is within the realm of possibility of auto crafting, which is really nice. You know what, it's even better because guess what, they have EMC. Now, we don't have any gold for some reason, but I can quickly fix that. So if I grab some gold and I toss it into this guy here like so, and you know what, we're probably gonna also want to teach it nether stars. Actually, you know what, I probably should teach it nether stars. That's definitely gonna be one thing that we should probably teach it for sure, because draconic evolution does use a lot of nether stars, so we might as well teach them. There we go, draconic cores, and then we're gonna want wyvern cores. We don't have that taught to the system yet, so let's go ahead and make sure that we teach that to the system, and then that way this guy also knows how to go ahead and make draconic cores like so. And then all we gotta do is make the wyvern core like so. This does have a $10 million cost, but we've got plenty of EMC to spare, right? So we should now be able to go ahead and craft the energy pylons, which hopefully are not too bad, and everything else is going to be relatively simple, honestly. So energy pylons are now done, and let's go ahead and get the energy core. So the energy core is this guy here. The only thing that we don't have is these wyvern energies, which honestly are going to be relatively easy as soon as we teach the redstone blocks to the system. I might as well just teach them. There we go, redstone blocks, beautiful. And then all we gotta do is make the wyvern energy cores, and we should be good to go here. So there we go, teach that to the system like so, and then teach it over here as well, and we should be able to make the energy core now. So energy core, beautiful. There we go, boom, easy peasy lemon squeezy energy core. Now we are going to go ahead and need to get the energy core stabilizers, and hopefully these aren't too bad to make either. So the energy core stabilizers are going to be as follows. We're going to need a particle generator, which is a draconic core with some blaze rods and some redstone. That's not too bad at all. There we go. And then let's go ahead and teach it how to make the energy core stabilizers with a few diamonds, and then boom. And that's literally everything that we need for the tier 8 energy ball. Alrighty, to get this built, what we're gonna go ahead and do is grab ourselves some cobblestone. Now we can go up 15 blocks, but I think I want to go up 10. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is place this down like so, the energy core, and tier all the way up to tier 8. And then what we're gonna go ahead and do is toggle the build guide like so, and make sure that everything fits nice and well, which it does. Beautiful. And all we gotta do is grab a bunch of draconium like so, and all we gotta do is also grab a bunch of the awakened draconium. So we need about 2 inventories full of the draconium and a bunch of this. I am gonna need to get rid of this nutrient bar for a second. So the awakened draconium, we're gonna need 9 stacks of that bad boy, and thankfully we have so much EMC we can actually afford to do this, which is super nice. There we go. And now that that's done, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is temporal pouch the energy core like so, and then I'm gonna assemble core like so, and it's gonna go ahead and build that bad boy automatically for us. Now to continue this, what we're gonna have to go and do is grab some energy core stabilizers like so, and what we're gonna go ahead and do is build out 5 blocks on all 4 of the faces like so. Now that that's done, what we're gonna go ahead and do is build a little ring like so of a 3x3 with the energy core stabilizers, and it's gonna go ahead and build this beautiful little ring. You might be asking yourself, how do I turn it on if the blocks are in the way? Well, if you go ahead and click on this guy, we can go ahead and activate it like so. And there is our tier 8 energy ball. Now, to get power into this thing, it's actually relatively simple and easy. All we gotta do is come here, break this like so, and then place down a energy pylon like so. And then let's go ahead and make sure that we grab ourselves some glass really quickly. Make sure that you get the right glass. It's glass from Minecraft that we need. Go ahead and place that on top like so, and that's gonna now go ahead and turn into a input. So you can now see that we're making 8 million RF coming into this bad boy. And to get power out, all we gotta do is do ourselves a favor and place down our other pylon. And once we do that like so, we can go ahead and also place down another piece of glass on top like so, and then that is now outputting power, and we can go ahead and run power from anywhere. So yeah, this is basically good. And now unfortunately that means we're gonna have to rewire our entire base, because I want to use the pipes, energy pipes, because that thing can do 2 billion FE per tick with the infinite pipe upgrades. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and do here as well. We're gonna replace these with the energy pipes and then the infinity pipe upgrades. So I've put all the energy pipes in, and you won't believe how much power we are creating from these reactors. Oh my god, 1.1 billion RF a tick, and that's not even where the fun hasn't even begun yet, because we can take all of our watches now and basically speed these reactors up as fast as we want, right? So if I grab myself some pedestals and some watches, this can be really, I mean, it can also be really dangerous too doing this, because if we're not responsible, we can kind of like brick the game a little bit with doing this. So we do got to be a little bit careful, but I'm thinking that we can do like 6 per side or something. Like that shouldn't be too bad, honestly. I would love to do it this way as well, but like this is like really dangerous doing this many, I feel. But at the same time, I am a bit curious on how much power we can create. Right now we're not accelerating it, we're only creating 1 billion RF a tick, which is not bad, but I feel like we can go a little bit more crazy and make a lot more RF a tick than just 1.1 billion. Are you ready to see how much power we're making with 9 watches on each side? So 18 watches of flowing time. Oh boy, you can tell I'm really lagging based on the orbs and their little animation, but put your guesses down in the comments down below whether or not if we're gonna peak like 70 or 100 billion RF a tick. If you guessed 44 billion, then you are correct. 44 billion RF a tick. That's insane. 44 billion RF a tick. But how bad is my TPS? That's the main question, right? How bad is my TPS right now? It's actually playable. 16 is not that bad actually. And actually actually, if we really wanted to, we could make this go even faster by using like the dry ice instead of the blue ice. But unfortunately, dry ice doesn't have an EMC value and it's not easily accessible without somehow like doing like some weird wait a second. I have an idea on how to make this work. The regulator upgrade can make this work. I don't know if that's going to work that way, but I'm going to try here because if we can do that, that would be pretty good, honestly. So we need blue ice with a exporter, and I'm going to have to teach this to our system. I don't think the regulator upgrade is going to work the way I want it to, but I'm going to try anyways. So if I put the regulator upgrade in here like so, and then tell it to keep 2 in stock at all times, is this going to work the way I want it to? Because if it does, I'm going to be a one happy chappy. Oh my god, it actually works. This is poggers, and all we have to do is get ourselves an import bus like so, and then all we got to do from there is have it import and make sure that it only imports dry ice, and then we can do some speeding upgrades as well, and then we should be on to a winner here. The better question is, if I take this and I do something like this, will this speed it up or will this break it? You know what, hold on, I might be out of blue ice. Let me just double check to make sure that I'm not out of blue ice and make sure that this is actually working. There we go, blue ice, and I think this is good. Oh, look at how fast that's going. That's going incredibly fast. Now the only problem is we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna get blue ice into this, but that should be relatively simple, right? It shouldn't be like the end of the world. Yeah, all we gotta do is put an interface down and filter it for the dry ice, and then that should be good. All right, the only thing that's left to do is take out all the packed ice or blue ice and exchange it for, you guessed it, the dry ice, and hopefully this will be good enough. Honestly, I hope this is fast enough to hopefully keep up with everything. It does look like we're already out of dry ice. No. Also, I do want to make sure that this is all good. So what we'll do is get a couple of these ultimate pipe upgrades and toss them in here and make sure that they are on round robin mode. So that way they exchange equally and don't like try to like rob each other of dry ice. And then hopefully this should kick in soon, and hopefully this will make this much more faster, honestly, and a lot more power out of our uraninite here, which is going to be even better. We're going to go probably from 44 million or billion to like something crazy, but I think, I don't really know, I don't really see this going down, so I can't really tell if it's really changed at all. It says solid coolant dry ice. You know what, I want to try something. This is a bad idea. Okay, don't do that. So it breaks the whole block. I didn't think it would break the whole block like that. That's not ideal, but I guess this is gonna allow us to see now how this works, right? So you should now have all your dry ice now. Yeah, I have to break all of these. Oh, that's kind of annoying. With all of the reactors upgraded, we are now making 44 billion. Okay, so it didn't really make that much of a difference, but honestly, it is what it is, right? And hopefully we can keep up with the dry ice production, which it looks like we are totally keeping up with it. So, and if anything, we can also make more of these energizing orbs and upgrade that as well, so we don't have to really like focus hard on that. Dude, we have a lot of power now, and I mean a lot of power. We're almost at 1 quadrillion power already, which is insane. Unfortunately, guys, it is time to wrap up today's episode of Project Sacrifice. If you did enjoy today's episode, please do me a huge favor. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, ding on that notification bell, become a part of the Council of Elder. And as always, guys, I'm gonna leave you till next time. Bye-bye.